Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Libra taking place on September 25th at 5:54 p.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. This would be the twin flame lunar update, people. Can't believe I'm saying September. It's incredible how fast 2022 has moved. And with this lunar update comes a couple of announcements that I want to make sure to share with you guys. First things first, the calendar is open. If you'd like to book some time with me for reading, now is the time to do it. I do have some time off scheduled for the second half of October and the beginning of November. And we'll be taking some holiday time off at the end of the year as well. So if you wanted to schedule time with me, please do it now because both the time off that I have on the books as well as the way I'm going to be running Star School this year will mean that there's just less availability for private time with me. So if you're hoping to get a birthday reading with me, if you're a Scorpio, Sag, or a Capricorn, or you're thinking of a 2023 preview reading, now is in fact the time to book it because there will be very limited availability as we get into the end of the year. And those of you who've already tried to get on my calendar know I don't read all the time every day. So if this is something you want to do, please do so now. Reading link to book is below. Secondly, I'm trying something new with getting these lunar updates out well in advance of the lunation. Up until now, I just wasn't confident I'd be able to read the energy accurately for all of us. So we're going to see as we get closer to the new moon in Libra how precise this is, how accurate this is for what comes forward and presents in the collective. I may keep doing it. I may not. Just going to see. It depends on, again, how accurate I feel like I can be because it's more my intention to deliver with accuracy than to just put something out because it suits people's schedules. I want to make sure that there's validity to what I'm saying based on what I'm seeing with the energy. And then thirdly, I don't know when I'm planning to release twin flame readings again. I know several of you have emailed to ask, what's up with that? When are they coming back? I only want to book one of those. My guidance has been that this is a really important passageway as we move through the end of the year that's specifically focused on self growth and leaning into union with self, as this is a union with self union window that we're in as the divine counterparts are not having a major conversation with each other right now. There's Juno, the divine feminine, Jupiter, the divine masculine. They're pretty far away from each other. Not as far as they could be, but there is no direct astrological conversation that they are having at this time. And so, as a result of that, they're on some very different journeys, astrologically speaking, which I've been talking about at each lunar update. And so my guidance has been to really make space for people who are looking at their own individual journey at this point in time, which I have been doing. And so I wouldn't wait, is what I'm getting to. If you want to spend some time with me figuring out what your next move is in your experience in your journey in your life in your light work at this point, now's the time to get on my calendar. I don't know that twin flame readings are going to happen before the end of the year, if I'm being honest. I may bring them back next year. Again, I'm just trying to follow the guidance as I get it. I'm just trying to stay as true to that path as it occurs for me, which I know everyone's not thrilled about, but hey, I got to live in this with these guides and this team and with my own self. So, sorry, but they're more annoying than other people. So, when the guidance has come in, I just need to kind of stay true with it in a way that really allows me to feel like I'm aligned with my highest path. So, thanks for understanding that. And I'm trying to think, were there any other announcements? I think that's it. So, without further ado, let's talk about what these counterparts are doing, shall we? Like I said, they are in two different signs, two different energies, doing two different things at the moment. We've got Juno hanging out here in Pisces. If you're new to the channel, welcome. The things I'm going to say to you today, maybe like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. You'll be listening for what resonates. But if you're not new to the channel, I'm not going to be telling you anything new. I want to give you that heads up first. Because of the way Juno's hanging out in Pisces here, talking to Nessa, she's having the same conversation this lunar update that she was having last lunar update, that she was having the lunar update before that. So if you're sick of me saying that, hop on over to the Lightworker Energy Update. Get the full scoop, the full picture, the full context of what this lunar update is going to mean in your world, because I'm not going to repeat all that context here. I'm just going to go over what the energy is looking like for the divine counterparts. Okay. Juno's hanging out here in Pisces, talking to Nessus. Our divine feminine energy is in the sign of release and spirituality, arts and creativity, speaking to our OCD friend Nessus, causing her to think, rethink, and triple think the rethink, and then overthink the triple think. It's not fun energy. It's very obsessive energy. And so this obsession energy could be about just about anything going on in your world. It doesn't have to be about your partnership. It could be about a work thing, a family thing, a friend thing. It could be anything. It could be obsessively trying to figure out the nature of your connection and where it's headed and what your lessons are at this point. I don't know. Right. And we've also got her speaking to the South Node, as we have talked about in previous lunar updates. She is doing a lot of releasing. South Node exemplifies what we're moving away from. She is in trine to the South Node in the sign of endings and completions. So there's something she's carrying in her energetic field that is working to end and complete at this period of time. We've got that going on here. And we've got this Juno having a bit of a conversation as well with the North Node via sextile, where there's some calculation going on in divine feminine energy fields about what we need to do in order to move our lives forward in the third dimension, what needs to change, what needs to shift in the third dimension in order for our lives to move forward at this time as well. Now, the fun thing about this is that she's talking to Pallas here. Pallas is over here in the sign of Cancer, and Pallas in Cancer wants us to be more protective and thoughtful about our emotional realities and be more honest and congruent with our emotional truth and to act accordingly. And so when we have her Pallas in trine with Juno, it brings to the divine feminine energy fields a certain protective nature, a certain way in which we may feel, I want to almost even say, in some cases at extremes, defensive. And that's in particular because of the way this lunar update or this lunation's energy is bringing forward a bit of exposing of some things that we may need to become more accountable about. I have talked about that in the Lightworker Energy Update, so please have a listen to that in order to better understand that energy, because there's a bit of exposing ourselves to ourselves going on at this lunar update, and a bit of a like, oh, light bulb, that's what I need to work on. Got it. There's a bit of that going on here. And in the divine feminine energy fields that may create perchance, not for all, but in some circumstances, a bit of defensiveness. And so just be prepared to see that around you and within yourself and to work with that. I've provided some uh, counsel in how to work with that in the Lightworker Energy Updates. I'm just going to refer you to that rather than recounting all of it all over again here. A fun fact, we also have Jupiter, the divine masculine energy, sitting here in Aries retrograde, also speaking to Pallas. But his conversation is a 90-degree angle where her conversation is closer to the 120-degree angle. The 120-degree angle, the trine, is harmonious, brings forward the light aspects of the communication between Pallas and Juno. The 90-degree angle is the square, brings forward the shadow aspects of the conversation between Jupiter and Pallas. When we get this shadow conversation between Jupiter and Pallas, this is where we get like just straight up defensiveness. It's not funny, but it's funny the way I said it. I laugh at my own jokes. Don't mind me. So, with that kind of like defensiveness, that was a haha discomfort laughter. With that defensiveness, there's a real kind of like unwillingness to admit where we may have been in the wrong in certain places. And so, the thing that I want you to look for in your own lives, regardless of how you identify masculine, feminine, gender, pronouns, I don't care. We all have this energy within us somehow, some way. What I want you to look for is where life is reflecting back to you an emotional truth, because Pallas is sitting in the sign of emotions, where life is reflecting back to you an emotional truth that is asking you to let go of one way of being and to be less defensive about your choices around that way of being. Okay. This divine masculine energy speaking with Pallas will have us being defensive about it, in part because we've been working so hard at all of our healing. And simultaneously, it will have us being defensive because this Jupiter in Aries energy just wants to move forward, even though Jupiter is retrograde. Aries energy is about the kind of the steady march forward. It's that outward projecting. Let's not hang out dilly dally Terry. Let's do the new thing. Let's start the new path. Let's trailblaze. And Jupiter sitting in Aries, even though retrograde, has been wanting to plow forward since May, June. But with this retrograde energy, and last lunar update, we had Mercury retrograde speaking to this Jupiter. Now we've got Pallas speaking to this Jupiter, and we have Jupiter playing a very key role in this new moon, which I'm going to get into in a minute. There's a bit of revelation energy going on here about where we may be moving in haste in our worlds, and where that movement in haste to just kind of move on to something may be causing us a bit of discomfort, because the revelation may be that maybe we've cut our nose off to spite our face. Maybe we've moved a little too quickly. Okay. And so, all of that to say, take your time, slow down. This will be a humbling energy for all of us. We may have people come to us and reveal where and how we have hurt them. And there may be a like, well, but you did kind of like quick to react and point the finger right back at the person. There may be some of that going on internally, and the invitation on the table is to not do that and instead just take it in as a piece of feedback and work with the information with humility. And okay, where can I grow here? I'm trying to take this in. Okay. This Jupiter energy is also, like I said, having it, like Jupiter is really the star of this new moon in Libra show. And for like all the mundane interpretations of that, like kind of like the real world experiences to expect, listen to the Lightworker energy update. However, for divine counterparts, what I'm seeing here is in the energy field, the divine masculine energy field, I'm seeing Jupiter having this conversation with Make, the shaman's asteroid. This is a conversation about the long journey that we've taken to become better people, and the wisdom we're bringing back from the tribe there could be some resentment about the journey itself with Jupiter opposite Make Make. We've got all three of these in Libra. This is about our partnerships and our relationships. And so there's some level of revelation about taking on a new pattern because of what we have learned from our partnerships and relationships in our divine masculine energy fields. Like I said, we've got this square to Palace that can make us, wee bit defensive, wee bit sensitive. We've also got a square to Fullest. This Fullest here in Capricorn has us, I would say, unfortunately, maybe like getting this little bit of like, I hate, how can I describe Fullest energy? It's a little bit of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or just trying to help someone, and they bite the hand that feeds them. It's a little bit of other people's wounding, tripping us up in the process of us working our path and process. And they don't mean to. None of it's ever intentional when Fullest is in the mix. It's just an isness of like, I don't want to say divine chaos, but like the divine sense of humor around like we're all out here as bumper cars and bumping into one another and learning as we go. That's a great way to put it. Good job, Kay. Good job. You got it out. All right, let's see. We also have divine masculine and sextile to our friend Chericlo here. And that's an energy of blessing coming forward, as long as we're asking for support from our divine helpers on the other side. Oh, good gosh, who are the other conversations? Foolish, Chericlo, Make, Palace, the moon. Anybody else you're talking to? Oh, right. Other than Mercury retrograde, not to be forgotten, as a pretty key player here. All of this, when I put all of this together in divine masculine energy fields, there's this energy of a yearning to move forward, a yearning to take off in a new direction, and a recognition that some things need to be reconsidered before full forward movement can occur. Some things need to be examined. There may need to be a reinvestment or a reconfiguration of certain things to facilitate this forward movement. And so, where you are dealing with divine masculine energy as a person, which I don't always recommend, but if you are someone who's exploring polarity energy as opposed to union energy, and you see yourself as, quote, the feminine and the other person as, quote, the masculine, you might experience, quote, the masculine in a period of withdrawal, a state of withdrawal during this period of time while they work on some things in their own life. So I wouldn't get too upset about this withdrawal. This is not the energy in which we're going to, quote, talk about us, unless there was already a conversation about us that predated this, at least starting a month ago. And you guys have been working through the us conversation. This is more of a, I need some spot, time, and space to do me energy, and let's reconnect after I get to a better place. There's a bit of that where for those of you who are in an experience of union, one way, shape, form, or another. I've heard many different stories of how this is working. Some of you are working together, some of you are co-parenting together. Some of you are living together. Some of you are romantically involved, just all sorts of configurations of union energy. In the divine masculine energy field, for those in union energy, what I'm seeing is that there's some insight and revelation about what the I is bringing to the partnership inside of divine masculine energy. So each of you has a divine masculine energy individually, and both of you might be going, aha, this is what I've been bringing to the partnership. This is what my partner's been trying to communicate. This is what I need to work on. This is what needs to shift. And then, go each of you going back to your own corners, tinkering around with, your Legos, coming up with a new configuration and then bringing it back to the other and saying, okay, I've worked on some things. Let's talk about this. There may be some sort of thatness kind of going on here. Okay. But like I said, overall, this isn't like a let's work on the connection kind of energy. This is definitely a let's do some self-work kind of energy. Let me get my pieces in order, my ducks in a row. Let me get myself to a better place kind of energy. And so I like to see it, especially as a precursor to a peak of a union window energy that hits in January. For those of you, I've had several of you write to me or comment under the last lunar update that things kind of imploded in your connection during this period of time. I wouldn't take it too harshly. I don't think, especially with Mercury retrograde and Mars preparing to go retrograde, that breakups under this energy are going to stay broken up. Classically in astrology, they don't stay broken up. New relationships begun under this energy don't tend to stay together. There tends to be like another shoe that drops once the retrograded planets turn direct. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. Okay, well, maybe we shouldn't be in a relationship, or maybe we should revisit or reconfigure as the retrograding planets go direct. Whatever it is now, don't expect it to stay that way, is all I'm trying to communicate. Expect that this is going to be, in all of our connections, a work in progress through the end of the year, and that we individually are going to be works in progress, which is why our connections will be works in progress. And try to just, as you're able to, give grace, give space, just let people be in the process of exploration, and let yourself be in it too, without the pressure of needing to land in one place or another. Because especially as these eclipses hit in November, we have one coming up, I think it's October 25th, and the other one November 8th. As these eclipses hit, there's going to be even more change. There's going to be even new information that comes out. And so as those things begin to come to the surface, there will be different levels of conversation that can be had that will provide better congruence with what we want, because we have better quality intel. So try to go slow, work on yourself, stay in your own lanes. That's the best thing that I can say here. Because in the minding of other people's business, or trying to help or trying to fix, in our divine masculine energy, this full list starts to kick up and has us become collateral damage to other people's kind of wounding, just having us be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and their wounding kind of bleeding all over us when we're not the people who cut them, that kind of thing. So this is going to be an interesting period of time. Hang in there. And if you would like to book some time with me, please do. Calendar is open, kmoonastro.com. Now is the time to do it, because I am going to be taking that time off in October and November and throughout the holidays. Thanks so much. Take great care. Listen to the Lightworker Energy Update. It'll provide greater clarity. Bye for now.